Thanksgiving is around the corner, and if you still have a piece missing from your decor or maybe a card that you would like to give, don't worry, I got you covered. Hi friends, I'm Myra with Vial Designs, and in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to create this beautiful Thanksgiving watercolor print. Let's dive right in and let's go over the tools that we're going to be using in this tutorial. The first is these monoline studio pens. You can use any pens that you have available. I'm going to be using the sizes 03 and 05. And we're going to need a pencil to sketch, and I'm using this brush, the Pigeon Letters round size 4 eraser, a knitter eraser, and I'm going to show you why this is important. Last but not least is this angle and circle maker. I love this tool, but if you don't have it, just grab anything round that you have, or maybe even just freehand a circle. As far as paper goes, I'm going to be using this mixed media paper from Canson. You want to make sure that you have a paper that's thick enough to hold the water, so just make sure you don't use regular cardstock or regular paper. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our angle and sinker maker, or this rounded object that you have, and then we're going to place it in the center of the paper. Now you can measure it, but I just eyeball the center, and now at the 2-inch mark, that's how I'm going to create the circle. And inside the circle is where we are going to letter our quote, and then we're gonna do the doodles around it. First thing we're gonna do is the pumpkin, and then for this we're gonna sketch an oval. It doesn't have to be a perfect oval, we just wanted to have the size that our pumpkin is going to be, and then we're gonna erase this part over here. And now to start drawing our pumpkin, we're gonna draw another oval here, sort of like in the center, and then we're gonna draw half ovals around it to complete the pumpkin. And now for the stem, we're gonna do this sort of like a triangle, and also don't forget on the back of the pumpkin to do this sort of like C shapes to complete the pumpkin. And then we're going to complete the stem just like you see here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 different types of doodle leaves. And before we do the doodle leaves, we're gonna go ahead and erase the circle, because that was our base to create our wreath. So now we're just gonna go over the circle and do imperfect shapes. We're gonna erase here a little bit because this is where we're gonna be doodling the leaves, and we're gonna do 3 different types as I mentioned before. This is the first type of leaves, and then the second one we create the stem, then a couple of stems going off of the big stem, and then we're gonna outline it with these circles. And now we're gonna draw the same leaves that we draw on this side, we're gonna make them on the other side. And now to complete the red, we're gonna draw these single leaves around the rest of the circle. Now this is where our knitted eraser is gonna come in handy, because we're gonna erase the sketch that we did, and you might not be able to see it too well on the video, but I'm gonna erase it and it's still gonna be visible enough for me to see everything, so I can go over with the monoline pens. And so here I'm using my monoline studio pen 05 to outline and go over everything that I sketch. And before we're done with the sketch, I decided to add these sort of like buried branches around the red, just to give it a little bit more character. And so now that we're done outlining everything, we're gonna go ahead and erase the last of the pencil sketch, and we're gonna use our trusty desktop vacuum to pick up the leftovers. And now it is time to use our pens as watercolors, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. So I'm going to start with the Amber 195 Carine brush pen to do the pumpkin. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to color a little bit, not all of it. I'm just going to color some of the parts of the pumpkin. And then I'm going to grab my brush, dip it in water, and then I'm going to grab some of the color and dilute it as I am painting the pumpkin. Now, one thing that you want to keep in mind is that if you want the color to be a little bit more saturated, then you can paint more with the brush pen, and on the other hand, if you want it to be a little bit more diluted, just use less color from your brush pen and more water. And this is how easy you can use your water-based markers, a brush, and a little bit of water to create a beautiful watercolor effect on your prints. And we're gonna keep doing the same on our Thanksgiving doodles around the wreath with the markers and the water and the brush. Another thing, if you wanted to change up the color a little bit, which is what I did here, I went back with the brush pen and the brush and water and added a little bit more color at the bottom of the pumpkin, and now I'm going to be using this curry brush pen to color the stem. And a quick tip is to have a paper towel or a rag next to you so you can remove the excess of water from your brush, and this is going to help you a lot when you just grab too much water and you don't want it to be as saturated. Now for the next leaf, I'm going to use this Rosewood 272 to color it, which the cup looks like beige, but the actual brush pen is very green. So you just want to make sure before you use the pens, you test them on a scrap piece of paper just to make sure that it is the color that you want on your print. Alright, for these small leaves, I use the pale orange 357, and then for the berries, I use the same orange that I used for the pumpkin. Okay, now it's time to write the message inside, and I went ahead and sketch give thanks, which is the message that I wanted to put inside. You can write whatever you want. I just recommend that it's short. And so, same as we did before, we're going to use the knitter eraser to erase most of the pencil sketch once we're satisfied with it. And now I'm going to use my Monoline Studio Pen 03 to outline the lettering part. And then I'm going to do a technique called fog calligraphy, which basically I'm going to be imitating the loop of calligraphy. If you want to learn this type of lettering, I'm going to put a link down below for my workbook, which I go step by step. And in the workbook, I teach you everything that you need to know about fog calligraphy. Now that the lettering outline is done, I'm going to color inside with this Sandstone 174 Kareem brush pen. And now what I decided to do to give it a little bit more pop to the lettering part, I am going over with my monoline pen. I'm creating this shadow effect, and I'm just basically adding a little bit of an outline to the downstrokes. And here's the final result. I think this print is very easy to make and the result is beautiful. Let me know what you think in the comments. And also, as always, if you recreated, be sure to tag me on Instagram and Facebook at Vial Designs. And be sure to comment below what other tutorials you would like to see in the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.